Welcome to That's Rad, Life, Love, and Wedding Planning in the Pacific Northwest, where our goal is to educate and elevate. I'm Radhika, planner and owner of Radications, and today I'm joined by Amber from Kaluna and Time, a website design company specifically with the wedding industry in mind. Welcome to the show, Amber. Thank you so much for joining me. Can you please share your pronouns and where you are joining us from today?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. So my pronouns are she, her, and I'm in England in the UK.
With the time difference, it can be a little hard to find time, so I really appreciate you joining us. Do you primarily work with pros that are based in the UK?
No problem. Yes, so I've worked with a bit of a mix really. So one of my first clients was actually a wedding planner in Pennsylvania. So not in the UK, but then I have worked with UK based businesses since then as well. So I can work with anybody in any country really worldwide.
And do you find that based on the country that the pro is based, that the needs change a little bit, or is it more based on the niche?
Yeah, I would say it's more based on the niche. So I've worked with a grazing board company. So obviously we wanted to showcase a lot of images based around her grazing boards and the tables and everything. But then you might have perhaps a celebrant who would obviously want a few photos on their website that have that are, showcasing them doing a ceremony or things like that. But then they're mostly going to want to share their what they're all about in their copy, and how they work and how they might help you write your vows and things like that. Whereas you might then have a bridal hair and makeup artist, which is something so visual, or maybe a florist, and they need a lot more photos and visuals on their website compared to somebody that's relying a bit more on copy. So obviously we do want a bit of both. We want visuals and copy, but depending on the niche within the wedding industry, they might have different needs for their website, whether that's slightly more visual heavy or a bit more copy heavy.
Okay, that's really fantastic to know because I always wonder if, based on the a part of the world that you're in, if that affects
Mhm.
how couples find you, how you need to market yourself, or even the priorities for people when they're looking for vendors.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously SEO does come into play there as well. So it is really important that you haven't just got loads of photos on your website without any SEO optimized copy. And that you do make the most of the meta titles and all of that technical SEO stuff. But it is really important to be able to be found on Google.
Well, definitely. And I
Mhm.
know on your website, I was poking around a little bit there. You said that you
Mhm.
have 14 years of wedding experience. Can you tell me more about
Mhm. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I worked in a cake shop for 14 years. So I've done wedding cake consultations with couples. I've done wedding fairs at the weekends and in the evenings, taking orders and delivering and setting up wedding cakes as well. So I've obviously got that knowledge of kind of what couples are looking for in suppliers. And I also did a bit of the back end stuff as well. So like the websites. And some of the more kind of businessy stuff as well. So I've also got the understanding of the juggle of the wedding seasons as well. So here in the UK, kind of like May to September is like the wedding season here. So you can kind of be like so busy throughout that time. And then the rest of the year, you're kind of catching up and preparing for the next one. So yeah, I definitely understand what it's like to be a wedding business. And I feel like I can relate to that and then use that knowledge to put the strategy and the design into place for the websites for the wedding pros now.
that's
Um,
fantastic.
so I've got two young, yeah, so I've got two young children under 5. So I was running this business as a side hustle, but in November 2025, left the job and now I do this full time. I just wanted a bit more freedom, and just time with my young ones, and while they are still young as well. So yeah, now I'm doing this full time and I'm really excited for what's to come.
Congratulations. That's so exciting, especially to go full time and have that flexibility.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah.
and, and yeah, May to September is actually the same season for us over here in
Mhm.
Victoria, too.
Yeah.
And I saw on your website that you said that being an Aquarius, my husband is an Aquarius, by the way, helps you design better websites. I am also into astrology, and my husband makes fun of
Mhm.
me for it all the time, but I am intrigued. Can you tell me more?
Yeah. So it was my birthday a couple of weeks ago. And I just thought, how can I, and obviously like with it being like the Chinese New Year coming up, that was yesterday. I just thought, how can I like put this into a post? So I thought, how does being an Aquarius make me a better website designer? And I feel like I do have some traits that are quite typical of an Aquarius. Um, and one of those is sort of like questioning a lot of things. So I'd kind of, if I was to do a website audit for somebody, I'd look and I'd be like, does this need to be here? Do we even need this on here? Does this need to be on there? That kind of thing. And yeah, I do really care as well. I am really caring and really loyal. So I think if somebody comes to me and they need help, I really want to help them. And that's just not just as a business, it's just like as a just a genuine trait of mine. So yeah, it could be Aquarius, it could be all of the years I've worked in the wedding industry. But yeah, I just thought I would see how that was. But yeah, what star sign are you?
I'm a Pisces Aries, because I'm right on the
Okay.
cusp. So
Yeah,
yeah,
my son is just on the cusp of Scorpio, like
okay.
Libra Scorpio. My husband's a Libra. My son is literally just born one day into being a Scorpio. And then my daughter's a Cancer. And I did see a post the other day from a lady, and she said the two most powerful female ones are Aquarius and Cancer. And I was like, yes, great.
Fantastic. Yeah. It's actually really interesting because I noticed that it's a lot of signs on the cusp that are wedding planners usually too,
Oh,
if
really?
you believe in that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, was there a specific aha moment that inspired you to help wedding creatives with their websites, or was it more just your experience with the cake industry?
Yeah, so I was running. I've always kind of done bits on the side, even though I had a job, I've always kind of done side hustles. So I used to run a blog that was all about natural and organic skincare. And then that kind of turned into, I really liked bees. So like my branding would be bees and the logos had bees on them. So then that kind of turned into me running a bee gift shop online. And then when I had my daughter, I was like, I do not want to be packing orders at 9 o'clock at night in the spare bedroom after I've just put her to bed at 8 o'clock. So I kind of tried to pivot it, eventually closed that down, pivoted and used some of the designs that I'd had for like notebooks and stuff and put those onto Etsy as digital downloads. So I made them into kind of like invitations and party banners and that kind of thing. And then I opened a business store doing digital downloads. And then one day I was doing some research and I came across something that was for wedding business owners. I can't remember exactly what it was, but and I thought, hold on a minute. I know the wedding industry. I've worked in it for this many years. And so that was kind of how it changed from just being just a business store to a store for wedding business owners. So I've made kind of Canva templates for pricing guides, social media templates, um, all the different things that you would need as a wedding business owner as Canva templates on my Etsy store. So that is actually still live as well. And then when I was looking on there, doing more research again, I came across a Show It website template and I'd never heard of Show It before. So it's an American website platform. And yeah, I'd never heard of it before, but it looked really good. And I'd seen like a demo and I thought, oh, that looks really good. So I found a course, did a course to learn how to use Show It, and then created 4 website templates from that as well. So that's then kind of turned into, now I do customization for the templates and I do VIP days as well. So that's kind of like it's kind of all started from Etsy digital downloads all the way through to doing kind of full websites.
Like a full circle moment for sure.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
you mentioned Show It. I hadn't heard of it until I looked at your website too. Is
I really,
Yeah, is that a company that's been around also for a really long time?
yeah, they've been around quite a long time. They primarily, when they first opened, they were targeting photographers, but now you can, I mean, you can use it as like a service provider, as a wedding business, any other business really. Um, And yeah, it's just really easy to use. So a lot of website platforms, they have these like blocks and you can only design in a block and you might only be able to have text here and a button here.
Hmm.
Whereas with Show It, it's just like a blank canvas and you can just drag and drop. So you might
Oh,
have a bit of text over here on a
okay.
photo and then you can overlap it, or you can, you know, the creative freedom on Show It is amazing. And just how easy it is to use and update yourself as well is
Oh,
really
that's
great.
fantastic.
And one more thing that is different to a lot of other website platforms is that you can design the desktop and the mobile completely separate.
Yeah.
So today I was designing it and I had a photo and then one overlapping on the desktop, but then on the mobile I had it where the photo was at the top and then another one was underneath the text all the way at the bottom. So it's really good because something that might work on the desktop doesn't always translate over to mobile in the exact same way. So it's nice that you can literally design everything completely separately. So it's really properly mobile optimized.
Yeah, that's really important because I feel like so many more people are looking at websites on their phone instead of on a laptop.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I think it's about 80% are now on mobile. It's probably even higher than
Oh,
that.
wow.
But yeah, it's a lot. So it's definitely something to consider when choosing the website platform,
Hmm.
whether it's going to be, you know, whether you can design it completely separate. Because sometimes it will just be like, here's a block, and then we're going to put that
Yeah.
block on the mobile, and then you kind of have to zoom in and pinch and all of this to try and, you know, see it. Whereas with Show It, you can completely change the color on the mobile from desktop. You can change the font from, you know, everything can be separate. So it's really, really good.
Oh, that's fantastic. So, on that note of technology, do you find that AI has had any sort of impact on how you approach website design and how you even approach your business?
So I do use AI in my business. I use it to help me with some of my content. And I do think there are now websites that AI that can create a website for you. But I think a lot of people think, oh, AI is going to come for our jobs. And I can see where people would think that perhaps maybe as a copywriter, you could use Claude or ChatGPT and it can write things for you. But I don't think it could ever fully replace a human. And especially for me, I've got that industry knowledge of working in the wedding industry, but an AI might not necessarily, they wouldn't have that. It wouldn't know, okay, this is a wedding business, so we need to put this and this and this on there. It just wouldn't know that. So I think, yeah, it could create a website, but I don't think it would create a good website that's actually going to convert browsing couples into booking into clients.
Yeah, it's all about that lived experience that ChatGPT
Hmm.
can't replicate.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So, on kind of the same vein, what are the three most common mistakes you see wedding pros making when they're making their website?
Mhm. Okay, making their websites, I would say a lot of wedding businesses think they need to start from scratch. And that's not the case. You've got templates that can help you with that, that have already got the strategy built in, but also it's not knowing what to put on there and what to put on there where. So I see a lot of wedding businesses, you'll open their homepage and the first thing will be about me. But the couples browsing a wedding business website, they want to know about you, definitely, but they want to know why you're right for them, not necessarily about, you might have 16 years experience in the wedding industry, but you always need to bring it back to what does that mean for them? So rather than kind of saying like, hi, I'm Sarah, I'm a wedding planner in Yorkshire, you might say something like elegant, stress-free wedding planning for modern couples who want to enjoy their big day. Something like that. So you're talking about what you can do, but you're turning it onto how it helps them and how it's going to help them feel on their wedding day, because this is like one of the biggest days of their lives. And, up to so far, this is probably the biggest day of their life so far. And they want to know that the people that they're going to hire for their wedding day are right for them and then are going to do a good job. So I think the copy is really important, but I think you always have to turn it to how it's going to help them rather than just all about you.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. And then I think a lot of wedding businesses get stuck with the photos and the imagery that they put on their website. It doesn't always necessarily reflect their signature style. And it's really important because when people go onto your website, if you've got, say you're a hairstylist and you've got all these photos of like these boho brides, but then you want to attract these, classic, sleek, modern brides, that's not going to attract those, it's going to attract the boho brides. So it's really important that your photos and your messaging are written and styled to attract the kind of couples and brides and grooms that you want to attract and want to actually work with. So I'd say that's a really big key thing, because I see a lot of people having like all different styles and it's not always obvious who they actually want to work with. And people need to come on and go, yeah, that's who I want to work with. That's when you've got a good website, when somebody comes on and goes, yeah, this is the one for me.
Definitely. And is there a third common mistake that you see, or are those just the biggest two?
Yeah, I would also say a lot of wedding business owners treat their website like a kind of extension of their Instagram and use it as a portfolio, but they don't often tell couples what to do next. So we call it call to actions. So at the bottom of every single page, you should have a call to action, and that could just be take a look at our portfolio, contact us, something that just tells them what to do next. So otherwise, they've scrolled through all of this page and then they get to the end and they're like, what do I do next? And some will click off, some will not know what to do, some will go on somewhere of the website that you don't want them to go on. And so it's really important to physically tell them what to do. Because if you say, right, click here to see my latest gallery, they're going to go, oh yeah, okay, I'll go on that next. And that will, it's kind of like the customer journey of they've landed on your homepage and you want them to go through your galleries to reach testimonials and see your services, to know the value of your services and the pricing, and then go through to contact. So it's like that customer journey that just needs to be flowing right, but those call to actions are going to help you get them to flow through the website.
That's interesting that you say that, because while you were saying that, I was thinking, oh, it's kind of like IKEA. They want you to go and follow the arrows so you don't get lost.
Yeah, but also so that you can't go back,
Yes.
because you've got to kind of go all the way around. And I was in a shop the other day and Easter's coming up and the Easter stuff was in the back corner of this shop. And yeah, because then you've got to walk through every single thing to get there. And so it's a similar concept of, it's just okay, it's over here and this is where you've got to go next in order to get to there.
That's really smart. I'm gonna have to go look at my website, make sure that I'm doing that.
Yeah, people are more likely to take the step if you tell them what to do.
Definitely. So I wanted to ask too with this on like with websites, do you find that's the same with like the mobile aspect or is it different when you're on a laptop? Is it the same kind of journey that people will usually take?
Yeah, I would say so. I think you can often get a lot more visual kind of impact on a desktop website. But I think the customer journey should still be the same. You just might need to tweak it slightly on mobile so that it's not too long-winded to go through. Because obviously you can only kind of scroll, whereas with a desktop, you've got it all kind of side to side and things like that. But yeah, the customer journey should still be the same depending on what format it's in.
And with this too, I know in my area, like in Canada, there's been a really big push towards weddings being non-traditional, being inclusive, being diverse. How is that
Mhm.
affecting things like website design?
Yeah, I would definitely say it's really important to feature different people, different relationships and things like that on your website. So even for me, when I'm creating a template, I also want to have like same-sex couples and people with different skin colors, just to show the diversity and the inclusivity just from a website template. I do think that the wedding industry can be a bit biased towards, there's a lot of speech about brides, like, oh, come on, brides, let's do the booking and that kind of thing. But you can have same-sex marriages where it's two grooms and same-sex marriages where it's two brides. And it's so important to have that language. So I think it's important definitely from a website point of view, because if you have a same-sex couple or LGBTQ couple coming on and they don't know, they don't see themselves represented, they're going to think, oh, does this person work with somebody like me? So it's really important to feature that. And you might do, even if you haven't worked with a couple, you might do a styled shoot and it might be two brides as the feature. So there are ways where you can do that. And even just in the language as well, I think it's really important to make sure that your language is being inclusive as well.
100%. And I know that with language, even like you said, same sex couples, and I've heard
Mhm,
some education podcasts and things like that talk about how, like,
mhm,
even that sometimes can be exclusionary because what if somebody doesn't identify as a bride or a groom? And I was like,
mhm.
light bulb
Yeah.
moment. I definitely didn't even
Yeah.
think about that until somebody
No,
talked about it and had their own
somebody
lived
points it out.
experience. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. I know in the past I've probably used, oh, like brides come and book this. And then you think, well, it's not just brides, or it might, yeah, they might not identify as a bride, or, it might be two grooms. And so, yeah, it's really important to just educate yourself
Hmm.
and, yeah, just try and definitely be more inclusive with your language as well.
And are you seeing that push as much in the UK as you are seeing it in other parts of the world? Like is it pretty similar?
Yeah, I would say so. I think it is. I've definitely seen, like you said about the education on the podcast and stuff.
Mhm.
I've seen some Instagram, I can't remember off the top of my head, but some Instagram pages and things like that that are actively promoting about being inclusive and
Mhm.
educating people on it. But yeah, it is something that you might not necessarily think about if it's not something in your world.
Yeah.
But then when you look at it and you go, oh yeah, okay, they don't want to be called a bridal party because they're all, there's two grooms,
Mhm.
so they're not going to be a bride.
Yeah.
So you just don't think about it until somebody points it out to you, and then it's like, oh yeah, of course, like
Mhm.
yeah. So it's
Yeah.
just really important to educate yourself and try and implement that and showcase that you are inclusive and you do work with couples that are not typically the norm in inverted commas.
And now I'm going to switch gears a little bit and ask this next question a little selfishly because I go between wanting to change my entire website and also then being like, oh no, my website's great. I don't need to change anything. How do you know when it's time to change your website?
Yeah. Okay, that's a good question. I feel like a lot of wedding businesses are going to feel the same. So I would say if you haven't updated your website in maybe 1 to 2 years, and you look at it and you think, God, this doesn't reflect anything that I do or doesn't look like the kind of people that I want to work with, then I would say it's definitely time for a change and an update. I would also say if you are thinking about raising your prices, then it's a good thing to look at because your website is a big reflection of who you are and what your business is like. And I think a lot of people can kind of put luxury on there and just use luxury as kind of like a word, but they don't actually have the assets in the website to back that up. So that's definitely one to look at as well. And also, if you're just struggling with it, like I know a lot of people are just like, oh, I've got this website platform and it's really difficult and I hate updating my website. There's other options out there. A bit biased to show it, but it is a really good platform to use. If you've got, I see a lot of people go, oh, I've got this website and, they say they can do this for me, but they can't. and then like they're waiting for this designer to come and do this thing that they say they can do, and then they can't really do it, and it's just a bit of a faff. Yeah, I would just say if it's not reflecting who you are, who you want to attract, it's not reflecting your value. So you need to, make sure that your website is showing couples your value so that they're like, oh yeah, that's fine. I want to pay that price. They're worth every penny. So if you want to raise your prices, and then yeah, just if you want something that's a bit more easy to use and update yourself, then I'd say it's time for a change.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I also, to that point of your luxury comment, I have noticed that a lot more. And I'm
Mhm.
always wonder, if everyone's luxury, then what is everybody else? And is
Mhm.
that what everybody wants too?
Yeah, no, definitely. You get people from, all sides of the spectrum that want a budget wedding, and then you have the ultra, ultra luxe that are like millions of pounds weddings. So it's like, where does luxury fit in that? And I definitely see billboard and it just says luxury wedding planner, or, something like that. And then I look at their website and I think this doesn't speak to me as luxury. It might to other people, but yeah, I think it's definitely a word that is used a lot, but not often backed up.
All in the eye of the beholder, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so, if someone is interested in working with you or learning more about what you offer, like the VIP days, how can they get in touch?
Mhm. Perfect. So I have a website. It's kalunaandtime.co.uk. And I'm also on Instagram, so at Kaluna and Time. And I offer Show It website templates, so you can customize them yourself. So it's a bit more of a budget option. And then I do template customization, so you can choose one of my templates or somebody else's templates, and I'll customize that for you. So I kind of call that semi-custom. And then I have my VIP design days. So that would be if you already have a Show It website and you need it customizing, or you need some page adding, anything like that. I can do that in a day for you. And then custom websites as well.
So all sounds fabulous. And before I let you go,
Thank you.
because you've been in the wedding industry for so long, I thought we would play a little game called Wedding This or That.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you two options, and you just tell me which one you gravitate towards right away.
Okay.
Okay. Slow dance or line dance?
Oh, line dance, I think.
Is it quite popular in the UK for line dancing?
It's definitely becoming more popular
Yeah.
since like country music is coming out more, but I
Yeah.
just feel so awkward doing a slow dance. And me and my husband didn't actually do like a first dance at our wedding. So yeah, I think I'd go for something a bit more fun.
Yeah, that's fair. First look or wait for the aisle?
And wait for the aisle.
I've had a lot more people say that lately. Becoming more and more the norm instead of going for a first look.
Yeah, I feel like it wasn't really a thing when I got married. I got married in 2018, and first looks weren't really that big. But I feel like you don't get the same reaction if you're then like, my husband cried, and I'm like, I don't know if I would get that because he would have cried at the first look and not down the aisle.
Right. And sparkler exit or getaway car?
Oh, sparkler exit.
Yeah, I
I
wish we
like the
could
thought
do
of that.
more of those. I don't know about the venues in the UK, but we have a lot of fire warnings during the
Yeah.
middle of summer because it's so
Hmm.
dry. So we've done
Okay.
like we can do them, but depends on if like
Hmm.
there's grass around.
Yeah, yeah. We went to a wedding. They had fireworks, but it was in like a farmy field, and they were coming down, and they were like, "Oh, quick, put it out."
Yeah.
So yeah,
Wedding cake?
definitely a hazard risk. But in the UK, sorry, we
Hmm.
don't have like we don't really do the getaway cars
Okay.
because we just sort of party till like midnight. I think in the USA and Canada, you often have weddings a bit later in the day than us. So our weddings are usually kind of 12, 1 o'clock.
Hmm.
So you have kind of like getting ready in the morning, 12, 1 o'clock, get married, have like time for photos, and then your reception would be kind of like dinner, just before dinner time. So I think we just then party till like midnight or whenever like the
Okay.
venue curfew is. But everyone will have already gone, like the bride and groom, and like the wedding party will be like the last one standing. So yeah, we don't really have getaway cars here in the UK.
Okay. Yeah, because we do start pretty late, like usually like 3, 4 in the afternoon, and
Mhm.
then dinner is like 6 or 7. But yeah, we also have the end time of midnight. There's very few venues that
Mhm.
do a 1 a.m. Yeah. Wedding cake or interactive dessert bar?
Ooh, I'm gonna say dessert bar because that's kind of what I did. I had a fake cake, and then we did kind of like biscuits, macaroons, brownies, donuts, that kind of thing. Yeah, I think I would go for that.
More options. And I feel like a lot of people don't end up
Mhm.
eating wedding cake unless it's actually served as
No,
the third course.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Brunch or dinner wedding?
Oh, I'm gonna go brunch. I got married quite early. I got married at 11 a.m. because I actually got married in New York. So we got married over there, had like 18 guests, but in order to get the photographer and the lunch and everything, we had to get married early. So I was getting ready at like 6 a.m. in the morning. And I know that's probably standard anyway, but we were up like so early. And yeah, I got married at 11. So, well, probably 11:15 because I think I was a bit
Yeah.
late. But yeah, it was a bit earlier than a traditional UK wedding, but no, it was still good.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you gotta do what you need to do to get the photographer, right?
Mhm.
So this next question, I have a feeling I know I'm gonna know the answer, but destination or local wedding?
Nation.
Did you
Yeah,
make
I've
the
always. So you go.
did you make the decision to do a local or sorry, destination wedding, New York for a specific reason?
So I've always loved New York. I've been 5 or 6 times, and my mum and stepdad also got married there. And it's just always had like a soft spot in my heart. So then when we got engaged, my husband was like, "Oh, I don't want to do like a big wedding. I don't want to stand in front of all these people." And I was like, "Let's get married in New York then." So yeah, we got married in Copcot in Central Park, and it was in April, so it was freezing cold. Um, but no, it was lovely, and yeah, it was really nice just having just like immediate family. Um, yeah, it was really nice.
Oh, that's fantastic, and it's such a nice, uh, have like a family tradition almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, last question, open bar or drink tickets? And this is me not knowing what the tradition is in the UK.
So what would be so open bar, obviously just get what you want kind of thing,
Yeah,
and then
open
what would
bar
be
would
a
be
ticket?
like it would be hosted by the couple, and drink tickets
Mhm.
would be like you could get whatever drink you wanted at the bar, but then everything else would be cash.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I feel like we would do that if you had money in the UK, you would do an open bar, but
Yeah.
it's not. I don't feel like it's um, that popular. Yeah, if I had lots of money, I would do an open bar.
All right. Well, that concludes my game. Thank you so much for playing and sharing a little bit about
No
your wedding
problem.
too. I will let you enjoy your evening now. Again, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This has actually been my first podcast, so it's been really fun. But yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been really nice.
Thanks, Amber. And thanks for bearing with me on the internet too.
That's okay, no problem.
A huge thank you to Amber for joining us for this week's episode, especially with the time difference. We will see you here next week with another guest, and in the meantime, stay rad.
Can you get into the funk tonight? Can you stomp to the beat and sway to the right? Can you feel it deep down in your soul? Can you dance to the rhythm and lose control? Can you let it move you, let it choose you? Get in the funk and the funk will flow through you. Up and down, you'll be bouncing like a yo-yo, feeling frisky, dancing at the disco. Let's get up and dance. You got me bounce, 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 bouncing like a yo-yo. Can you feel my heart beat fast? Can you make the moment last? Can I hold you in my trance? My cannon fire, my magic dance. I really groove you. I wanna choose you. Pull up a seat and watch the music move you. Getting lost in the moment, we'll go crazy for each other.